Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and the sun just doesn't rise. No sunrise, no daylight. Just cold, pitch-black darkness. Now imagine that lasting not for a day, not for a month, not even for a year, but for 42 straight years. No warmth, no light, just endless, freezing, howling darkness. That's not a nightmare. That's not fiction. That is the daily reality on Uranus. And it is one of the most disturbing things happening in our solar system right now. Most of us learned about Uranus in school and immediately forgot about it. It's the weird blue one, right? Somewhere out there, floating quietly in the dark. Boring, forgettable, just another planet on a poster. But here's the thing. Scientists have been studying Uranus more closely than ever before, and what they're finding is genuinely unsettling. This planet is not boring, it is not quiet, and it is absolutely not what we thought it was. So let's talk about it. First, you need to understand one thing about Uranus that changes everything. Its tilt. Every planet in our solar system has a tilt, including Earth. Our tilt is about 23 degrees, and that's what gives us seasons. Comfortable, predictable seasons. Summer, autumn, winter, spring. Nice and manageable. Uranus is tilted at 98 degrees. That means it doesn't spin upright like a top the way other planets do. It literally rolls through space on its side, like a bowling ball that got knocked over and never recovered. And the reason it ended up like that is already terrifying. Scientists believe that billions of years ago, something the size of Earth came screaming through the solar system and slammed into Uranus so hard that it permanently knocked the planet sideways. One catastrophic collision, and the planet has been rolling on its side ever since. Now here's where the 42 years of darkness comes in. Because Uranus is tilted so severely, its poles face directly toward the sun as it orbits, and Uranus takes 84 Earth years to complete just one trip around the sun. So each pole spends about 42 years pointing straight at the sun, getting blasted with light, and then 42 years pointing directly away from it, locked in total, unbroken darkness. There's no gradual shift, no slow easing into winter. One hemisphere gets 42 years of relentless daylight. Then it flips, and that same hemisphere gets plunged into 42 years of night. If you were standing on Uranus, and trust me, you would not survive standing on Uranus. You would live your entire life without ever seeing the sun rise or set normally. You'd get 4 decades of noon, and then 4 decades of midnight, nothing in between. And during that darkness, the cold is almost incomprehensible. Uranus holds the record for the lowest atmospheric temperature ever recorded on any planet in our solar system. -224 degrees Celsius. That is -371 degrees Fahrenheit. For context, liquid nitrogen, the stuff scientists use to instantly freeze objects in labs, is warmer than that. Uranus is colder than liquid nitrogen, and here's the part that genuinely baffles scientists. It shouldn't be that cold. Every other gas giant in our solar system, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, they all radiate heat from their cores. They generate internal warmth and push it outward. Uranus barely does this at all. Its core gives off almost no heat. The planet is essentially a frozen, dead engine drifting through space, and nobody fully understands why. The best theory is that the same ancient collision that tilted it sideways also scrambled its internal structure, creating some kind of thermal barrier deep inside that traps heat and prevents it from reaching the surface. The planet was wounded billions of years ago, and it never healed. But the cold is just the beginning. Add to that the wind. Uranus has wind speeds that regularly hit 900 kilometers per hour. That's over 550 miles per hour. The strongest hurricane ever recorded on Earth barely cracked 345 kilometers per hour, and it leveled entire cities. On Uranus, 900 kilometer per hour winds are just Tuesday. These aren't temporary storms that blow through and pass. These are permanent, planet-wide atmospheric events that have been raging for potentially millions of years. There is no calm. There's no break in the weather. It is a non-stop, violent, frozen hurricane that wraps the entire planet and never, ever stops. Now let's go deeper, literally, because what scientists think is happening inside Uranus sounds like something out of a science fiction novel. Deep beneath those howling winds and that frozen atmosphere, the pressure builds to levels we can barely imagine. And under that kind of extreme pressure, something strange happens to carbon. Carbon atoms get compressed so intensely that they crystallize, forming diamonds. Real diamonds, but it doesn't stop there. The pressure goes even further, and those diamonds begin to melt, forming what scientists describe as an ocean of liquid diamond, thousands of kilometers deep, with solid diamond structures, floating through it like icebergs. A sea of liquid diamond with diamond icebergs drifting silently in the dark. That is what is happening inside Uranus right now, and we have never once been able to go confirm it up close. Speaking of which, we have sent exactly one spacecraft near Uranus in all of human history. One. Voyager 2 flew past it in 1986 and spent just a few hours in the vicinity before continuing on. We gathered what data we could in those few hours, and then Uranus went back to being a mystery. That flyby was nearly 40 years ago. Since then, we have sent multiple missions to Mars, back to Jupiter, back to Saturn. But Uranus? Nothing. It just sits out there, 2.7 billion kilometers away, at its closest point to Earth, rolling on its side, wrapped in frozen storms and diamond oceans, largely unstudied. The good news is that's finally starting to change. NASA has identified a Uranus Orbiter mission as one of its highest priorities for the coming decade. If it launches, it would be the first spacecraft to actually orbit Uranus, spending years studying it up close rather than a few hours at a distance. And scientists are practically buzzing about what we might find, because every time we look more carefully at Uranus, it surprises us. It also has a ring system, by the way. 13 known rings, narrow and dark, almost invisible. They were only discovered by accident in 1977, when Uranus passed in front of a star and the rings briefly blocked its light. We didn't even know they were there until that. And it has 27 known moons, some of which have surfaces so shattered and strange that they look like they survived their own catastrophic collisions. One of them, Miranda, has cliffs nearly 20 kilometers high, some of the tallest known cliffs in the entire solar system, and nobody is entirely sure how they got there. Here is what strikes me most about all of this. Uranus has been sitting in our solar system for 4.5 billion years. It's our neighbor, cosmically speaking, and yet it has managed to stay almost completely mysterious. One flyby, 40 years of barely looking at it, and already we know it has diamond oceans, 42-year polar nights, winds that would tear apart anything we've ever built, and temperatures colder than anything we've ever encountered. What else is out there that we don't know yet? What is Uranus hiding that we haven't even thought to ask about? The universe has a habit of making us feel like we understand it, and then showing us something that completely resets our expectations. Uranus is a perfect example of that. It was the boring planet, the forgettable one. And it turns out it might be one of the most extreme, most violent, most alien environments in our entire solar system, sitting quietly 2.5 billion kilometers away while we completely underestimated it. If this video changed the way you see our solar system even a little bit, drop a comment below. I want to know which part shocked you the most. And if you want more deep dives into the parts of our universe that science textbooks completely glossed over, subscribe and hit the bell. We're just getting started.